Nice and tight, leg is nice and high. He's got his inside knee is up high.
Oh, guillotine! King Louis the 15th style! The James Krause has done it again!
That was great.
I am Jason Schilke from TheMMACorner.com, coming to you from our live remote studio in Area 51, and I am on the line here, joined live by UFC Lightweight James Krause. James, thank you again for taking time this afternoon to talk to us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, anytime.
So, first off, let's talk a little bit about what you got going on. I remember a couple years ago when you were like one of the last guests on our podcast. And at that time, you were still fighting the regional circuit up in Kansas City for Titan. And you were having a good run at that time. And you stated that getting to UFC really wasn't all that important to you at that time. But now, obviously, you've made it. What made you have that mindset change? It was important to, this is what I want.
Sure, yeah. I think, I think a lot of it is maybe just maturing as a person, and then, resetting goals. And, maybe if I said that before, I don't remember saying that, but if I did say that, I'm sure I did. It sounds like something I would have said a while back, but it's probably just some kind of security thing to if I never did make it, I would make it okay in my head, to not ever make it there. But no, I think any fighter is wanting to make it to that top level of sport, and I'm not saying the UFC is the answer for everybody. I would like to think that that's where most of the guys want to be, though. There's some great things, going on with like ONE FC and Bellator and there's, I can name off 100 different, maybe not 100, but a few different other organizations that are just as good as the UFC. But most of the guys want to be in the UFC, so. I think I just refocused, set different goals, and matured as a person a little bit. And, that's where I wanted to be. It was a life goal of mine to get a win in the UFC. And, that's June of last year. That's what I did. Yeah,
you took that fight on short notice against Sam Stout, who is, he's tough as nails. He's a scrapper, and, he wasn't an easy task for your debut, was he?
No, he's a very, very tough, very durable guy. He's just a guy that's going to be in front of you the whole time. And if you can't deal with that kind of pressure and, his abilities, then it's going to be a long night for you. I think just stylistically I match up well against Stout. I'm longer than him. I can kickbox with him. I think I just have more threatening tools with him. If Stout can keep it standing and turn it into a kickboxing match, he's usually going to do pretty well. But I think I did a good job of mixing things up, adding takedowns in, threatening with the submission at the end. And I think I heard him a couple times early that helped me out a lot as well. But I think the stylistic I match up really well with him. But there's a lot of other guys that he is just a nightmare for. He's just so durable, and he's going to be right in front of you the whole fight. And if you can't handle somebody punching at you for 15 minutes straight right in your face, he's a bad guy you want to fight.
Now, and if I recall correctly, you took that fight, you had it was probably like right around 2 weeks notice, a little bit more. But you were training for another fight already. So how did you have to change, mentally, going from fighting, one opponent in a different organization to all of a sudden being under the spotlight in the UFC with, so little time to, mentally prepare for it? How did you handle that?
It was good for me. I'd been asking for the UFC for I don't know how long, so it was an easy switch for me. You just gave me what I asked for. So, as far as the matchup goes, that was the most difficult part. Was we were training for a wrestler, so I was training a ton of takedown defense, a ton of wrestling, and you immediately switch to a guy that's all wrestler, then you switch to a guy that's all kickboxer. So it's, that was the only problem. But I'd like to think I'm one of the more well-rounded guys in the division, so I feel like I can do just about anything. And it was basically just a small switch that we just quit working on wrestling and started working on kickboxing. And then what actually worked out is I think I won a couple rounds with takedowns. So the wrestling actually came into play. And I knew I wasn't going to be able to hold Sam down. He's a tough guy to hold down. He gets up very well. But we used to score points. That was the plan going, and win rounds, score points, get a takedown at the end of the round, and steal them. And because we knew it was going to be hard to get a decision in Canada, so we had to do everything we could to win the rounds. But it ended up working out great. It's just a simple switch, and like I said, as far as the mentality goes, it was as easy as to switch right over. I've been asking for it, so I was ready for it.
And now you go about how you've been, or you mentioned earlier how you've been asking about, about how you were asking to get in the UFC. And if I recall correctly, it's one of your fights that were on HD Net, which you kind of just threw your cell phone number out there for the world.
Yeah, I'm an idiot, man. I don't know why. I got so many calls from that. It was ridiculous.
So in retrospect, probably not something you want to do again.
No, no, definitely not.
Too many Joe Silva impersonators, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I had probably 30 voicemails on my phone that night. Saying, "Hey, this is Joe Silva." It was ridiculous.
Now, going back to the South fight really quick. I mean, how much did that mean to you to get that first victory in his own backyard, per se, in Canada? With the hostile crowd and everything. I mean, after you got that W, I mean, how much did that just boost your self-esteem? Be like, hey, I deserve to be here.
Yeah, it was really really awesome for me, man. It was unreal. I knew that I belonged there. I knew I can compete at that level. I knew I can beat Sam Stout, but knowing it and actually doing it are just two different things. And when I won, it took me to a different level in my confidence, in my self esteem, and just mentally. It's no longer a question. It's no longer a mentality. It's a real thing. It's a fact.
Right.
That I can hang there, and so it helped me out a ton. I feel like I got better just off that win.
Right. Now, let's fast forward a little bit to your next fight. And first off, gotta apologize to your balls. I hope they're doing well. But Bobby Green put a hurting on him.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's an unfortunate deal. I don't think Bobby meant to do it. He seems like a pretty stand up guy. Unfortunate deal, and I there's not really much I can do about it. You know what I mean? I just have to pick myself up and then get back to training and go on to the next one. I refuse to let it hold me back or anything like that. So it's just a bad deal, a mistake, and it happens. It's what am I supposed to do about it? I can't do anything about it.
Yeah, but like immediately afterwards, when you found out that John McCarthy, who's one of the best referees in the business, called a TKO. I mean, what was your feelings after hearing that you lost basically by a sack kick?
Yeah, you go from obviously I was in pain. You go from pain to it's no longer like priority number one. I can't really explain it to people. You no longer worry about the pain and stuff like that, and you just it's like somebody just robbed you. You know what I mean? If you
Right.
got if you're it's a situation where when one priority takes over another, you know what I mean? Like, and that's why people's argument was, I got up really quick after he said I lost. Well, yeah, sure. I just lost, that's my livelihood. That's what I live for is to fight, and you just took that away from me. So of course, getting kicked in the nuts isn't the number one priority anymore at the time being. So,
Right.
people don't understand that. And all the people saying anything are the dudes on the sidelines that don't know any better anyway. So, those people can keep talking. I'm not going to waste my time and energy listening to them. So, I know what happened. I know the truth, and it is what it is. If somebody doesn't want to believe me, that's their problem, not mine.
Now, I'm sure that you have, your managers, trainers probably going to file appeals to have it changed over to no contest. But at the end of the day, does that really matter to you? Whether it's a
No,
loss or no
they are. They're
contest?
working on it. They're working on it, and I really don't want to have anything to do with it. The things I want out of it, which is the win check and the win on my record, I'm not going to get either one of those things if they overturn it. So it's irrelevant to me. I'm not going to waste any more time on it. I'm just going to move on to the next topic, which is the next fight. So it really doesn't do me any good dwelling on overturning this fight. It doesn't give me a peace of mind or anything like that. So it is what it is. You know what I mean? I'm not going to waste any time messing with it.
Now, speaking of your next fight, has there been any talks about a rematch with Bobby? Has the UFC contacted you about any potential opponents? So what's the future
Not at all.
looking at right
No,
now?
we we told them that if they wanted to give us an immediate rematch, that we would take it. But obviously that didn't happen because Bobby just fought Pat Healy and looked. I didn't watch it, but it looked very well from what I understand. Or I didn't want to fight until after the New Year. So I'll probably I don't know. I'm guessing first quarter, second quarter. I would guess that they would put me back in. I don't know. I'm not really lobbying for a fight right now. I'm enjoying the holidays and enjoying time off with the family. I'm still training. I'm in shape. I've been in better shape, but I've been in worse shape too. So I'm training every day, twice a day. I mean, it's I'm still training. It's not like I'm just sitting on the couch or anything like that.
Yeah, you got to work off all that holiday turkey some way, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm assuming you watched the fights last night.
No, I didn't. I was actually at family dinner. I was watching the fights via Twitter feed.
Oh, so you're getting all your information from Twitter.
Yeah.
So, but I'm assuming that you heard about the two biggest stories that went down. Of course, first being, Ronda via armbar, but it went to the
Yep.
third round. I mean, were you surprised when you heard that the fight went that long, or did you expect that, Misha was, had enough tenacity and guts and will to draw it out that far?
You know, uh, I'm not surprised that it went that long. I'm glad that everybody kind of finally sees Ronda as human now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
She's not just some mythical creature that every girl's fighting. I want to see how she does against a girl like Sarah McMahon.
Yeah.
I think McMahon causes a lot of problems for her. I've said this for a long time. I've been saying this for a long time. I think McMahon's the girl to beat Rousey. I think DC is the man to beat John Jones. I said 2 years ago, Renan Barão was the guy to beat Dominic Cruz. So I've been pretty accurate on some of my picks, and I've been saying McMahon's the girl that's going to give Rousey the most trouble, and I really believe that. But it doesn't surprise me. Rousey is she's an animal. She's good.
Right.
She's spectacular.
Now, I don't know if you heard about. I don't know if it's. A lot of people are making it out to be post-fight drama where after Misha tapped, she went to go shake Rousey's hand and she wasn't having it. Um,
Yeah,
well, as a professional fighter, what would your thoughts be if you just tapped out, you went to go shake your opponent's hand and he basically, gave you the middle finger, like no way.
yeah. I don't know. I personally wouldn't do it. I think that's why we're in there is to we fight, and I'm all for a dirty a fight, a brawl. I'm all for it's a fight, not a competition. I'm down with that. But I feel like there's something else. There's a higher thing that we as fighters need to think about, and I feel like some of these people lose track of that. How many kids are
Right.
watching Ronda and looking up to her and stuff like that. I think that's important to think about. And I realize it's a fight, emotions are high, and you gotta you have to look at that. But I mean, you also have to think about everybody else that's you're inspiring every day, and all the people that you touch and people look up to you. So me personally, I don't think I would have done that. But if that's her, if that's her style, that's her deal, then go with it. I'm not gonna. It's working. So, she's doing pretty well for herself.
Yeah, it's yeah, that's a easy way to put it. I mean, she's won what 9, 10 in a row, all by
Something like that.
all via armbar. So it's not like whenever you step in the cage, you know what's going to happen, but no one can
Yeah.
stop it. So I
Yep.
mean, that just it to me it shows just how good Rousey is. But then again, McMahon, she is an incredible wrestler who should be able to foil her her judo and put her in check and really probably be the biggest test of her career.
Yeah. I had a friend that was on the Ultimate Fighter, a teammate, and the way he described Ronda is said there's top level girls, and then there's Ronda Rousey. So she's just on another level from what I understand. I've never actually trained with her, but from what I understand, she's just an animal. But Sarah McMahon is too. She's the real deal.
Talking about Anthony Gutierrez, shark bait.
Yep.
Okay, just want to clear that one up. And then I guess the other big story is how Anderson Silva went out last night. With his leg.
Yeah.
I mean,
I seen the pictures, man. It's a bad deal. It's sad to see. It's sad to see that happen. The fact is, he probably won't fight again. You know what I mean?
Yes.
If he can, if he wants to, but in my opinion, there's no need for it. You know what I mean? Like he's probably the best fighter in MMA history, you know, with maybe the exception of one or two other guys.
Mm-hmm.
Why even risk tarnishing your legacy? You know, you've done everything you need to do. There's really no other accomplishment he could do to make himself higher, you know, in the MMA eyes. You know, he's done it all. You know, so what's the point? He doesn't need the money. You know, it's hard to bounce back from something like that. You know what I mean? It's real hard, especially at his age. You know, and he's been, and not necessarily his age, but he's been fighting for so long.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your body doesn't respond well when, you know, it's I always say it's not how old you are, it's how many fights you have, because I think that makes the difference. You look at a guy like the Nogueira brothers, you know, they're what, mid-30s, and they look like they're late 40s. You know, it's because they've been fighting forever. You know, they've had, you know, probably over 100 fights between, you know, gyms and unsanctioned fights, and that stuff wears on your body, man. It's not good for your body at all. So he's had enough. He's done everything he needs to do. What else can he do to, you know, to lift himself up in the MMA community's eyes? I don't think anything.
Exactly, and I mean, these guys, like you mentioned, like the Nogueira brothers and Anderson Silva, they've been fighting back since the Vale Tudo days in Brazil. You know, where you could punch someone in the balls, it was legal. You could headbutt, no gloves. You know, I mean the stuff that, you know, well, I don't know about you, but I grew up watching whenever it first came out. But I'm sure you saw the same things as well. You know, and I mean, it was a completely, I don't even want to call that really a sport, but you know what I'm saying. You know what getting
It's just evolved. The roots of it.
Yeah.
You know, it's the roots of what we started with, for sure.
Now, but as a fan, is that how you want to see Anderson Silva exit the sport? You know, the last images of him being carried out on a stretcher from the cage.
You know, from my point of view, it's I think I have my fighter hat talking right now. I have my fighter hat on.
Right.
As a fan, here's the deal. The fans don't really know, though. I hate to say it, but the fans don't really know what these guys go through every day. You know, what these guys do every day. They have a good idea, but they don't know. It takes a toll on your body. It's not good for your body. What these guys do to entertain us as fans is remarkable. You know, and I say that because I am a fan. I'm still a fan. I still watch most of the fights, and I would have watched last night. I had a family dinner to go to, but I always watch fights, and not just MMA. I'm a fan of boxing. You know. Kickboxing, Muay Thai, I watch everything, and you know, if a fan says Anderson Silva needs to come back and fight more, I think it's for that fan's own selfish reasons. I can't think of another reason why Anderson Silva needs to come back. Now, if he wants to come back, just, you know, for his own personal whatever, so be it. You know, he doesn't need to come back, though. He's done enough for the sport, for the fans, for the UFC. You know, he's paid his dues, and his time is over if he wants it to be.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. I mean, he has absolutely zero to prove. He's accomplished everything, longest reigning champion in history. And like you say, he's going to go down as one of the best, if not the best fighters ever. It's just, you know, with my fan hat on, not like that. You know, I like to see him go out, you know, either, you know, in a brawl, if you lose a decision, he gets knocked out again, you know, so what? At least he goes out on a shield instead of, you know, with the, you know, the way things happening. And so, as a fan, just a little disappointed by that.
I would hate for him to come back and you know, his leg not fully be recovered. He comes back and is in a war and loses. Then he loses 3 straight in a row, and people start questioning his legacy and his skill set. You know, like a kind of like a, you know, I don't want to say Mike Tyson, but
Fedor.
You know, Fedor. Yeah, if he would have just skipped his last 3 fights, I mean, he could have been, you know, one of the greatest of all time as well, and he still is. You know, I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but to the uneducated eye, you know, there's a lot of people, you know, naysaying and hating on these guys because they, you know, maybe they took one last fight. You know, I look at a guy like the name that pops in my head is Jens Pulver. You know, think about his legacy. In my opinion, he could have been, you know, one of the greatest fighters. You know, not just for his accomplishments, but just the type of person he is, what he's done for the sport. And you know, people don't view him as that anymore because he's lost his last few fights. You know, the educated person will, you know, but not very many people are educated in this sport, like myself or you might be, the diehards. Those guys know, but
Right.
the casual fan doesn't know.
Exactly. People that have never, actually stepped in there, which I don't know if I ever told you this, but I did have 11 amateur fights back in the day.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know
yeah,
that.
and I was a
So,
sanctioned judge in the state,
oh,
so
awesome.
I like to think I know a little bit more than the average fan. But
Oh, sure.
but you bring up a great point. This is something that always has bugged me about the sport. You talk about, kind of like, the uneducated. Well, I don't want to say uneducated fans, but more the casual fans.
Casual fan, yeah.
Yeah, the way they perceive the sport, it's not what have you done for me, it's what have you done for me lately. It's like, Fedor, when he was over in Pride, I mean, you saw pictures, memes of him on the internet armbarring God, I mean,
Yeah.
you cannot put that guy up on a higher pedestal. Then he goes over
Yeah.
to Strike Force, he loses a couple fights, and all of a sudden, the casuals are throwing him in the trash, like, oh, this guy's
He sucks now.
garbage.
He sucks. Not
Yeah,
only is he not, he sucks. You know what I mean? Like it's ridiculous how extreme people can get with this stuff. It drives me nuts, man. Like, I've dealt with it firsthand. With the Stout fight, I had people tweeting me and Facebooking me, I'm the next lightweight champion, and then those, some of those same people were calling me a fake and a phony and all this stuff after. You gotta, you can't let that attention, positive or negative, go to your head, because a good friend of mine, Rob Kimmons, once told me, a UFC vet, he's had a million fights,
mm-hmm.
one of the toughest guys I know. He told me one time, and I mean, I remember this like it was yesterday. He said, uh, he told me the reason why he stays off the forums, because I used to be, when I fought in the WC, I was on the Sherdog and I was on Underground, just looking. And I didn't post much, but I looked all the time, and it drove me crazy. He said, "Man, I stay off the forums for one reason." I said, "What's that?" And he goes, "Well, the negative, and I interrupted him. I said, "Well, the negative really doesn't bother me so much. You know what I mean? I just want to see what people think." He goes, "Well, either way, it's the negative and the positive. Either one, if they go to your head, it's not a good thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you let the positive go to your head, you're going to get, a big head, and you're going to start making mistakes like that. And if the negative goes to your head, you're going to start feeling down on yourself, and your confidence isn't where it needs to be. So there's nothing good that comes out of reading internet stuff, about yourself. So I just try to stay off of that, and what I like to do, I think is fun, is after you win the fight, or after you go back and look at the stuff, then you know what I mean, like all the things that people said about me fighting Stout, I think it's comical. Like
Right.
it's great. I had people, saying I was going to get destroyed in the first 30 seconds, all kinds of stuff. It's great.
Yeah, the places like the UG, I have never been there personally, just because everything I've heard is just a very toxic environment. And
It's just like anything, man. There's so many haters everywhere.
yeah,
It's so many haters that have never fought, and a lot of these guys don't even know anything about fighting. They're just getting on there just to be negative. People get on every day to troll. That's it. You know what I mean? They just want to troll people, and they don't want to know anything about the sport. They don't want to learn anything about it. They just want to piss somebody off, and that's, I can't be a part of that. I'm not going to waste my day reading other people's negativity.
yeah, I don't blame you. And then, once you get involved in all that, it brings down your own mood if you let it get to you too much. But it already looks like you have the mindset. It's like, trolls are gonna troll. Let them be. Just
Yeah,
kick them to the
you can't.
side.
Yeah, you can't do anything about it, man. Those guys are going to be those people, and I feel sorry for them, but I refuse to let myself become a part of that.
And that's definitely a good thing to hear. Now, let's get back to you now. 2014, what are we going to be seeing from you?
Hopefully the UFC puts me in some exciting fights that the fans want to see. I want to go out and compete again, and I want to put on a good show, and I want to get another win, similar to like the Stout fight. I love being in those fights, man. Where if I would have lost that fight, I would have been proud of myself. I would have been equally as proud of myself, because those are the type of fights I want to be in. Where, I don't think Sam Stout lost that fight. If you look at his record, it'll have a loss on it, but that fight was great.
It was.
For the fans, for the card. You know what I mean? Everybody liked that fight. I think people wanted to watch that, not for me and Sam, but just because it was a good fight. It was entertaining, and that's what I want to do. I don't want to call myself a fighter. I want to be an entertainer. You know what I mean? I want to make people happy. I want to make people want to watch the sport more. Not necessarily me, but people, want to say, "Hey, man, I want to watch these exciting guys that finish and come out and they go to they bring it, and that's all I want to do, man. I just want to be in exciting fights that people want to watch.
And exactly, and that's what people like to see as well. You look like guys like Chris Lieben and Bobby Volker. I mean, they haven't had much success lately, but whenever they come, they bring it, and they put their heart out there on the line. And whenever they're inside the cage, you know that you're gonna see a good fight. And so, and from what you're saying, that's kind of the way you want people to perceive you. When James Krause enters the cage, win or lose, you're going to go out there, you're going to put your heart out there, and you're going to entertain people and give it everything you got.
Yeah, I want to be known for the guy just throwing fireworks for 15 minutes straight, throwing crazy stuff, dangerous through the whole fight, and you never know what you're going to get.
Right on, my man. Now, before I let you go, I know you got some sponsors, some people you'd like to thank, so go ahead and shoot off with whatever you got to say, man.
Well, first of all, thanks for the MMA Corner for having me on or whatever. It's great doing this stuff. That's, man, you guys, the fans and people like you are what the reason why I do it. So thank you guys for having me on. Dethrone has been a huge part of my my success in 2013. They got on board with me after the Stout fight, and man, they've been a great company that's had my back since day one of them coming on board. They're just such an awesome company to be a part of. Real down to earth guys that are just fun people to be around. Great spirits, great character, everything. So big thanks to those dudes. And then all my guys at Team Grindhouse here in Lee Summit, Missouri, that helped me get ready for my fights, and all my teammates and all that good stuff.
Right on. And I know the people that are going to be watching this won't know, but we actually did this interview one time before. It was actually I believe it was Thursday. And for whatever reason, the software I was using completely screwed up everything. And James, being the classy individual you are, you agreed to come back and do it again. And I really, really appreciate you doing this. And thank you so much, man. And
no problem.
And I wish you nothing but success in 2014. And definitely keep us posted whenever you figure out you find out what you got coming at your way next.
Will do, brother.
All right, man. Enjoy the rest of your holiday and have a happy and safe New Year.
You too, man.
All right. Thanks again, James. We'll talk to you soon, buddy.
Thanks a lot, bro.
All right. Bye-bye.